So alright, we're gonna talk about Star Wars. I need a few things in order to do that. I need Han Solo. Come here, Han. I'm gonna hold him. Actually, I need someone else. We also need Chewbacca. I can't do a Chewie noise. Let's just talk about Star Wars. Alright, so I got Han and Chewie in my arms. I'm going to cradle them, and I got the lightsaber, deadly weapon of the galaxy. We're going to turn that off for safety reasons. And let's talk about Star Wars. I got the Blu-rays of them somewhere, but real quick I want to point this out. Just before you think that I haven't seen what greatness looks like, I've got the VHS collection of the original trilogy, which is the official original release. It even says on it, like, these are how they were when they were in theaters. So I got to see Han shoot first and all that. It's all good, okay? Anyway, yeah, Star Wars, it seems almost irrelevant, not irrelevant. Words aren't working for me today. I'm sick. I don't know if you can tell. Little stuffy, but yeah, it's affecting my ability to create words with my mouth. Chewy, what was the word? I can't remember. It might seem tedious to review Star Wars because I know we've all seen it already, right? We know the story of Star Wars, but let's talk about it anyway. Just to talk about it. It's the same thing. I'm talking about the Rocky movies. We've seen them. I just want to talk about them because Force Awakens comes out real soon. Today's the 10th, I think? 8 days? It's so close. Oh. And by the way, this is my Captain Solo sweater. This would be more appropriate for Empire Strikes Back because that's where they go. They're hot, but it's kind of cold. And it's like, listen, keep me warm. But, yeah, Star Wars, directed by George Lucas and stars Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, well, David Prowse plays Darth Vader in costume, and then James Earl Jones does the voice. We also got Alec Guinness, Kenny Baker, Anthony Daniels, and Peter Mayhew. And, already says directed by George Lucas, who only directed this one, and then he let other people direct Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back, but it was written by George, and George would go on to work in the prequels, which we won't talk about now. You don't have to see it, Chewie and Han. Han, you weren't even there, you lucky piece of shit. Chewie was there. They drug him into that. And in Star Wars, to sum up the plot, really, seems like, do I even have to? But yeah, it follows young Luke Skywalker, who lives on the desert planet Tatooine, who gets involved in the battle between the Rebels and the Galactic Empire because Darth Vader has built a Death Star. It looks like a giant moon that's going to blow up planets with a laser. That's not good. And so Princess Leia and some other people have been involved in stealing of the Death Star plans to try to get them to the Rebels to help sabotage it. And so she sends R2-D2 and C-3PO to try to deliver them to Ben Kenobi, or Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then Luke gets involved in that. They come across Chewbacca and Han Solo on their journey to fight Darth Vader. And yeah, that's the story. They gotta stop a giant moon that's gonna blow up planets with a laser. And this is probably the most classical sci-fi movie ever, the most influential sci-fi movie ever, the most important sci-fi movie ever, and one of the most important movies ever for modern cinema, because this has influenced so much and led to so much greatness. It has helped pave the way for cinema greatness, really, is the good way to put it. So yeah, clearly you don't need me to tell you, oh, Star Wars is good, in case you were wondering. It's a good movie. It's obviously good. And why is it good? I'll just talk about a few things of why I think it's good, even though we all can kind of agree. So there are many reasons, and first off, I gotta credit George. Thank you for having the idea and creating it, because it's led to so much greatness. Not always because of you, sometimes you have to let other people help to create it, but overall, we credit you, Georgie. Good old Georgie boy. Thank you for that. Yeah, let's talk about the other stuff now. George's directing, by the way, was pretty damn good in this movie. His creativity and all that. The cinematography and stuff. Really, the direction in this movie, and I kind of wish we saw this in other prequel movies. The opening shot alone, where there's a little rebel ship flying, like we do the scroll, look up little rebel ship, and then followed by like a 8,000 foot long galactic empire ship shooting at it. And it says so much with one shot, one simple shot that's like, that's genius. That's cinematic genius. My God, you say so much with so little and sets up the entire thing. Rebels, Empire. So there's that. And the story itself, it's a great story. I really like it. And I love all these characters that this movie brought us to know now. Chewbacca I like quite a bit. Let the Wookiee win, of course. But Han Solo. I love Han Solo, and Harrison Ford's great as Han Solo. This smuggler that shoots first. I don't care what George Lucas thinks, because he's an old man now and thinks, oh, a hero shouldn't shoot first. Guess what? He shot first. Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia, pretty damn good. I know we'll talk about her more in the sequels, but she was very good for this movie as a woman that won't take no shit. She'll pick up a gun and shoot someone. Someone has to save our skins, she'll say. Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, though. I love him as a Joker, okay? Him as the Joker defined me as a person a little bit. He's been very influential on me in life. But as Luke Skywalker, here and there's a couple times where he's not very good. Most of the time he is pretty good. He's a classic hero. But he gets also overshadowed by a lot of people. By Han Solo, Chewie, Obi-Wan. Like, he gets overshadowed by more dynamic and interesting characters, but he himself did good most of the time. There's a couple lines, I mean, I gotta go to Toshi's station to pick up some power converters. Like, there's a couple lines where it's just like, shut your mouth. But overall, he is very good. And also Darth Vader. I mean, David Prowse was amazing at moving his arms and legs and walking around. But that voice is what we're talking about. I'm sorry, David Prowse. You did a very good job physically, but we gotta talk about James Earl Jones as Darth Vader. The voice only. Vader is intimidating looking, and he's badass looking. The design alone is memorable. But that voice adds so much to that character and makes him even more intimidating, even more memorable. Probably one of the most well-known characters in science fiction and cinematic history in general. I love Darth Vader. The only problem I really have with Vader in the movie is when we first see him and he's like choking the one guy with his hand. It's like, listen, you have the Force. We know you can just do this and choke him from like 80 feet away. Why are you picking him up? Just to show us later how much cooler you are? Fine, but that's like one tiny thing. There's really not many problems. But I go with it. I love the story, as I said, all the classic characters. C-3PO and R2-D2. I love them. Okay, C-3PO is really funny. It's just this, oh my, Master Luke, oh, just this oafish little dainty droid. And R2-D2, he's a trash can on wheels, but with little beeps and stuff, he becomes so endearing and lovable. That's hard to do, and they did it. So yeah, obviously you've got memorable characters. We also have Ben Kenobi, Obi-Wan Kenobi, who Alec Guinness, he's very good in the movie, but at the same time, he kind of ruins my enthusiasm because later in life, he's like, I hated those movies and they are beneath me. It's like, shut up, man. You're Obi-Wan. You shut your mouth. Yeah, overall, I like everyone in the movie. I like the story. It's such an interesting story. It's cool. It's epic. It's sci-fi badassery. We got space battles and ships. We got a lightsaber fight where it's two old guys poking at each other. They'll get better later, but the lightsaber in general, he created this magnificent weapon, an elegant weapon. And also I want the Force. As much as I want a lightsaber, I want the Force because the Force is mystical, it's magical. It surrounds us and penetrates us. It's kind of sexy like that. But you can just, these are not the droids you're looking for, and change someone's weak-willed mind and stuff like that. I want the Force so bad, and I would use it for non-important reasons, like levitating a Blu-ray to me to put in the player or something. Like, I'd be lazy with it, but I'd enjoy it. Yeah, this movie created so much. The Force, lightsabers, everything. Awesome space battles, lightsaber fights, Darth Vader. There's just so much that this movie has done and gone on to create staples in pop culture history, cinematic greatness that it's gone on to influence. There's so much about Star Wars that's great. So yeah, I've went on for a little bit there, but I also got to mention the score. John Williams' musical score. The opening theme alone, the Star Wars theme. That alone is cinematic greatness for just music. It's so good. And he'll go on to do even better music later in the franchise. But some of the music in this is really, really great. The opening theme mostly, and also when Luke's on Tatooine looking at the two suns, that was used in the Force Awakens trailer. That music gives me chills every time. It seriously, it hits me right in the feels. It's like, oh, it's so good. It's like, hold me, Chewie. Oh, it's just, it makes me very emotional, and I really love it. And I love Chewie, too. He's very cuddly. And then Han's over here like, oh, I shot first. What the fuck? But yeah, Star Wars, perfection. Is there little things that maybe technically could have been done better with some visual effects or whatever? Yeah. Did they need to go in and put CGI? No, but they did anyway. And yeah, I can't support any of it. It's all bad. Putting Jabba in the movie needlessly and stuff like that. It's like the only good thing is where they added the sound effect when the stormtrooper hit his head. And also there's a tiny problem I have with the movie. When the Jawas get killed and then Obi-Wan's like, only Imperial stormtroopers have such precise aim. It's like, yeah, because later in the movie they're going to be very accurate, right? It's just, and that's a nitpick of a nitpick. That's not important. I still love the stormtroopers too. I love everything about this movie. It's perfection to me. Could I nitpick little things like that? Yeah. Do I need to? No, because this movie's perfect and has gone on to do so much and it holds up. It's not like a dated sci-fi movie where you go back and like, yeah, it helped to influence a lot, but is it any good? This movie holds up. This movie's fantastic. I would give Star Wars an A+. Do yourself a favor if you haven't watched Star Wars, because I'll be honest, I'd never seen Star Wars till I was like 10, 11, 12, somewhere around there. I saw it on Spike TV. They played it a lot, so I watched it. I was like, this is pretty awesome. I saw the prequels first, just by happenstance of I had those VHSs, and I didn't have the original ones, and I'm sorry, that's the truth, but we'll talk about the prequels later. But yeah, I saw them, and then I was like, this is awesome, went and bought the Blu-rays very recently, but before that, I got those VHS tapes, watched them in their full cinematic glory, not on Spike TV with commercials. So yeah, I didn't quite have the best original experience, and we'll talk about that with Empire Strikes Back, with certain twists and stuff that this movie just has permeated pop culture in a way where you know it. I felt like I knew the movie without having watched it. But when I did sit down and watch it, there were so many things that I caught on and like, ooh, I really like that, and grew to love things that I didn't know about. We'll talk about that with the sequels also. I look forward to talking about the sequels. So yeah, comment below, tell me what you thought of Star Wars. And really, if you haven't seen it yet, if you're one of the few people that hasn't seen Star Wars, go watch it. I don't care if it's the VHS, which would be a preferable way. I don't know how you're going to watch it. I don't know where VCR players even are anymore. They're overpriced, to say the least. But DVD, Blu-ray, just watch the movie because it's greatness. Watch it. Like really, you will go watch it. So yeah, comment below, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.